Looking around the bar, I saw it was populated by regulars. I drew up a stool as I perched myself at the bar. I ordered a beer and leaned back, resting my elbows and relaxing. I looked slowly about, briefly catching the eye of the human bouncer. Things had certainly settled down since Tom had taken over the security role. Not many aliens wanted to try their luck with a death welder. Titan welder had become the more acceptable term, since humans had been on a charm offensive, but in a spaceport dive bar, I preferred death welder. I finished the scan of the room, verifying what I had long since committed to memory: the cover, the entrance and exit routes, the areas of low visibility. This ritual was still ingrained, despite the fact I'd long since left the Terran Armed Forces. I sipped my beer, falling into a daydream. I roused myself when I saw a young Noxian enter the bar. They had been my drinking buddies since they lost their ride. The ship was impounded for some reason or other. It happened a lot, and for many reasons, so I tried not to judge the crew that were trapped by circumstances. They ambled over, the 15-plus articulated lower limbs giving the motion a strange rolling, like watching someone glide on wavy ice. It was hypnotic. I smiled with closed lips. Most sentients treated baring of teeth as a threat display, so humans had long since moderated their behavior outside of human-only friend and family groups. I held up my hand, presenting my open hand and forearm, the Noxian gripping it with a lifting tentacle. With other creatures they use their manipulated tentacles, but with even an old human that would be inviting an injury. Tshirt fancied themselves as a strong example of the Nalaxi species, and was even attempting weightlifting to see if they could increase their strength. Tshirt gripped with considerable power. I very gently squeezed back and released almost instantly. I wanted to encourage Tshirt. I rather liked the entity, and never gave the impression that I was restricting my response. Tshirt was glancing nervously over at Tom. They'd had a mild case of hero worship ever since Tom had thrown a full-grown, intoxicated berserker Nalaxi through the bar window. I suspected that's why they started weightlifting, although their own physiology didn't really work that way. I considered them for a moment, and decided that the chance to develop and improve lifting techniques would probably still be valuable for the young sentient. I took another sip of my beer. They were getting pretty good, or my standards were lowering. Either way, I enjoyed the taste of the cold beer. I turned to Tshirt and asked, "Did I ever tell you about human outliers?" Tshirt considered the question, and as is the way with their species, their lifting tentacles wrapped around each other, the forelimbs intertwining in patterns that often gave me a clue as to the progress of their consideration. This time, the release of the limbs and a flash of the leftmost tentacle indicated a quick decision regarding my question. "No, friend human, we have never spoken about outliers." I leant back on the bar and started to explain. Most species in the galaxy know something about humans. How tough and resilient we are. How we have the ability to wear down most other races over time. That we are determined and have a very capable military. Most species don't realize that some of that is the capability of most humans, and that some of that is the product of outliers. To give an example, you know that a human can run 40 kilometers, and in fact, most ambulatory humans, given a little time to practice, can cover that distance, and the vast majority will complete the distance in under 6 hours. This comment elicited a gasp from the Nalaxi. By their species standards, that was an insane distance and an unthinkable speed. I pressed on. But did you know that around 50% will complete the distance in under 4 hours? 20% can cover it in 3 hours, and some outliers can run 40 kilometers in under 2 hours. That's distance running, but it's the same for most things. Average height is 1.75 meters, tallest person 2.72 meters, and smallest 0.54 meters. Standardized intelligence score in humans is about 110, with most people scoring above 80, but some 1% of humans will score above 150. Some are unscorable, as there isn't a standardized test that can rate them. Testing caps out above 200. Strength is another good one. Humans are strong on average, but a human that dedicates themselves to weight training can be 4 to 5 times more powerful. As I was saying, it's the outlier humans that are really responsible for the human reputation. I was failing to mention our organic metal bones, and fight or flight response which match some battle drugs in reflex, strength, and endurance enhancement. One mistake other species seem to make is when they try to ambush us or wipe us out in one stroke. What they forget is that they kill the average humans, but the outliers remain. The ones too lucky, stupid, tough, or ornery to die. When we emerge from the smoking hole that is left of our city, our friends and our family dead, we are released from wider concerns. We don't have to worry about friendly fire, protecting civilians, or any other concerns than taking our revenge. Again, I glossed over our deep vaults and battle dress, all designed to preserve life in the harshest of situations. Did you hear of a human colony out in the Outer Arm, New Leocon? It was attacked by Brulak's military in a police action. They claimed they were looking for pirates, but their first action was a meteorite strike against the planetary capital so harsh it set fire to a quarter of the atmosphere. When the Brulaks landed, after the firestorm had died down, they were met by infantry resistance that took out 1 in 5 troop transports on orbital insertion, and the resistance on the ground took another 20% before they retreated, in the face of reinforcements from the colonial government and the rest of the planetary militia. Once the world's defense net was restarted, the Brulaks raiders found little reward in the system and left. Of the 1 million people in New Leocon's capital of Fairfield, over 500 remained, the outliers. Tell me, Tiaxi, did I ever tell you the story of the unkillable Admiral McBride and his invincible clone siblings?